ABC, MidWest and Wheatbelt. It enjoys an incredibly high profile and a most excellent reputation, especially in regional and rural areas. But with the changing times and an increase in demand for services, often comes the need to adapt and do things slightly differently. The Royal Flying Doctor Service is no different. Despite government funding and donations, more money needs to be sought from other sectors. Now, Graeme Marshall is the CEO of the Royal Flying Doctor Service in WA, and he joins me this morning on ABC, MidWest and Wheatbelt. Good morning, Graeme.
Good morning, Arthur. How are you?
Exactly what is your plan for the future for the Royal Flying Doctor Service?
I think our plan, Arthur, really is to continue to stay at the forefront of innovation in delivery of health services to rural and remote communities. Ever since John Flynn had the concept and set the service up some 85 years ago, we've tried to maintain health services to those people most in need, obviously, but particularly staying at the forefront of innovation and how we do that.
At the same time, there's an ongoing increase in demand for your services, and there's only so much funding from governments and donations can provide, so you do need to look for other sources of income, don't you?
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. The demand for our services from patients has grown by about 600 patients a year over the last 5 years. And if you look at the MidWest area, for example, we're moving about 100 patients a year more every year. With the economic cycle, obviously governments are generally very good supporters of ours, and the community are amazing supporters, but there's the opportunity for us to, think a bit differently about how we engage with some of the larger corporates around the place to actually deliver services where they're needed, but also to expand the services we deliver.
So that thinking differently encapsulates what kind of approach?
I think it means doing more of the type of potentially on-the-ground medical services that we deliver. Again, if I use the MidWest as an example, we run a number of GP clinics and dental clinics to remote communities throughout that area. And I think the opportunity is to potentially expand some of those services, but particularly, sustainably funded by corporates that have a real interest in building and delivering services to the communities that they operate in.
Have you found companies are already lining up to become more involved in this way?
Yeah, I think a lot of the larger resource companies, the BHPs and the Rios and Chevrons of the world are on board. I think it's more the people in the companies that service the local communities that we're really trying to engage more with. We do have a wonderful partnership in the MidWest with Carrara Mining and Rapid Crushing, and they fund a mobile dental service to the communities of Perenjori, Minginyu and Morawa. So that type of thing, I think there's far more scope to move into.
Astute business people will no doubt want a return on their investment. In what way, what forms will this take for the corporates who are becoming more involved with the Royal Flying Doctor Service?
That's a really good question, Arthur. I think that's one of the ways we need to change our thinking a bit. In the past, it's been the RFDS is an iconic brand, and people know and love us. For a lot of corporates, it's been enough to just say we give money to the RFDS to help support them. I think there's a change in our thinking to say where's the real value proposition for corporates that we can deliver for them. And I think that means more engagement with our staff and their staff in local communities. It means better understanding of what outcomes some of those corporates are trying to achieve and how we can help them with that, as opposed to donate some money and we'll just acknowledge that you've given it to us.
Someone recently said that if the Royal Flying Doctors was an airline, they'd be the third largest in Australia besides Qantas and Virgin. Running a fleet of aircraft certainly doesn't happen cheaply, hence the need to look at different ways to fund the operation. And that's the plan that Graeme Marshall is considering. Graeme is the CEO of the Royal Flying Doctor Service here in WA. And I'm speaking with him this morning on ABC, MidWest and Wheatbelt. Now, Graeme, when people hear stories about funding from commercial sectors, straight away they get concerned about the quality of the service that will be offered in the future. What guarantees can you give?
I think the guarantee I can give is that the Royal Flying Doctor Service has established an 85-year reputation based on the quality of the service we deliver, and also the fact that for us the patient always comes first. So we wouldn't compromise that for any amount of money or any partnership. And I could say overwhelmingly the corporates that we've engaged with in the past absolutely respect that, and they are more interested in finding ways to help us to enhance that service as opposed to compromise it.
And that service will still remain free for people to use should they need your services?
Absolutely. Again, that's one of the strong principles that the Royal Flying Doctors were based on. It is a free service, and recognising, of course, that the government contracts that we hold for delivery of services enables those services to be free. We have no plans at any time in the future to charge for the services we deliver to patients in need.
Graeme, once people hear that the Royal Flying Doctor Service is getting more funding from the corporate and commercial sectors, is there a concern that there may be a drop-off from people giving money, making donations to the Royal Flying Doctor Service in the future?
I don't think we ever want to lose touch with our grassroots constituents, and they are the people out there in the communities that are so important to us in terms of fundraising. We would never want to lose that as our cornerstone, I guess. When we're talking about the corporate engagement piece, that's the type of money that enables us to really spend money more in the innovation space, and that is to continue to develop things like video health and telehealth and other ways to get services to patients that aren't necessarily just about aircraft.
So worth clarifying again in summary, the service will still heavily need ongoing support from the government and donations from the public. Whatever it takes, the quality of service will not deteriorate in the years to come.
Absolutely, that's our number one priority, is the patient in need.
Graeme Marshall is the CEO of the Royal Flying Doctor Service in WA, a much-loved organisation across the state, and in fact across the nation, looking at different ways to keep on providing the premium essential service they've offered for decades and decades. The future is still very bright for the Royal Flying Doctor Service, and Graeme, I appreciate your time with me this morning on ABC Midwest and Wheatbelt.
Thank you very much, Arthur.